Hi, I'm Zach Owens. Have you ever stopped to think whether you enjoy sports as a kid was because how your parents looked at it and their role? According to the professor at the University of Washington, parents play a vital role in determining whether sports are a fun learning experience or a nightmare. It's called frustrated jock syndrome for parents who attempt to relive their own past successes instead of letting their child make their own. Research says that children participate in youth sports primarily to have fun. Other reasons may include skill improvement, physical fitness, making new friends, and lastly, parental pressure. The atmosphere around youth sports is not what it used to be. Today, there is a lot more pressure on kids to play one sport all year long, growing up instead of multiple sports, and how the unwanted pressure affects the kids later in life. And lastly, how youth sports becoming much more specialized to prepare certain athletes for a particular future. First, I'm going to talk about the atmosphere around youth sports today, and how there is a lot more pressure put on kids than it needs to be. Sports are supposed to be something that is fun and enjoyable for kids growing up, but that is not always the case anymore. Today, kids are pressured by their parents to play one sport in particular, and whatever that sport is, they are focused to stick with all year long and have their entire focus on that one sport versus playing 2 or 3 sports throughout the entire year. With all this pressure, it is leading more and more young athletes to quitting sports at an early age due to lack of interest. According to a poll from the National Alliance for Youth Sports, around 70% of kids in the United States today stop playing organized sports by the age of 13 because it's just not fun anymore. This is my chart on why it's less fun, because they don't like all the winning, the playing in tournaments, participating with specialized trainers and coaches, earning medals or trophies, traveling to new places to play, and getting their pictures taken. Reason behind that 70% who are quitting the pressure that comes with the sports. Sports are not made to be fun anymore. Sports are made to be competitive and for kids to specialize and achieve a higher level in one sport or one specific position. After reading an article from Star Tribune, I read firsthand how pressure from parents can really affect the way the kids look at sports. The first story was about Callie O'Keefe and how she loved the sport of softball at the age of 12, and her parents pushed her to be better because she came from a generation of Minnesota athletes. They pushed her spending over $7,500 a year on just softball, which led to her quit a year later in high school. The problem is the pressure put on the kids because it can cause anxiety and stress. Pretty much you get burnt out on the sport, or so much focus for all the kids falls short in other parts of their lives, for example, academics. In sports today, kids are pressured to only play one sport to prepare them for a future instead of getting to play 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 that they are interested in. Sports today are made to where kids continue to play the same position all year round, preparing them for a future in that sport. A Star Tribune survey that found that most athletes in volleyball, soccer, basketball, hockey, softball, and baseball spend as much time spend more time on there during the off season as much as they do during the actual season. Parents put all this pressure on their kids to focus on one sport because as a parent, if your child does not succeed in a sport, then they are automatically set up for failure, but that is not always the case. Parents also push the importance of focusing on one sport because they believe that their children will have fun in that future of that particular sport. Parents feel that sports are a vehicle for college scholarships and career as a professional athlete. Parents also push their kids at a young age to continue sports that they are really good at because they mistake their happiness with their kids' happiness. In conclusion, parents should let their kids pick which sport they do or do not want to play and how many. They should have an option to play both basketball and baseball and just one sport, which could be soccer. The main idea would be to just let your kid pick which sport they want to play instead of pressuring or pushing them to play the sport you played growing up or what you want your kid to play in college or go to college playing. So for all the parents out there that see this, let your kids tell you what sport they want to play, and more importantly, do not push them if they do not want to be pushed. Thank you.